Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me here in the man cave, and thank you to those that have recently subscribed. It means a lot and it keeps me motivated doing these videos. Right, so today I've come home from work early-ish, got a bit of time on my hands, so what I thought I'd do was do a little maintenance video on the wife's trusty steed, her Yamaha XSR 125. So if you've been here before, you'll know that she purchased it the back end of last summer, so she's probably done just under 1,000 miles on it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a little video on cleaning and lubricating her chain. So if that's something you're interested in, then please stick around. So here is the machine in question. So this is the chain we're going to be doing. Like I've already said, the wife's had this since last summer, and she's done a fair bit of riding on it. However, the chain isn't looking too bad, but I do like to keep my chains nice and clean, and that way they are going to last you a lot longer. We'll also check the tension while it's there. First of all, we need to look at getting this chain guard off. You can see we've got an Allen nut there, and there's going to be another one in there somewhere. So yeah, let's get that off. As you can see as well, I'm lucky enough to have a paddock stand. This will make the job so much easier. You can pick these up for about, I'm sure you can get them for about 40 quid. Well worth the investment, because it gets that back wheel up off the floor, and obviously you can just spin it and it makes the job so much easier. Yeah, let's get this chain guard off. So it looks like we've got two bolts holding this. We've got one at the back here. And then one towards the rear. Now you don't have to take this guard off, but it will be easier in the long run. They are both exactly the same, so it doesn't matter which way they go. We put them to one side. There you go. That was nice and easy. So we'll be able to give that a bit of a clean under there as well. Happy days. Right, so we've got the cover off. So now what we want to be doing is finding some kind of degreaser to clean the chain, okay? Now, an old school way of doing it, and it's one that I've done for about 15 years, okay? I got myself some paraffin, which I bought years and years and years ago, put it in a little spray bottle, okay? And you just get in on the chain, spray the whole chain, keep turning it, spray it again, turn it, spray it again, turn it, until the whole chain is soaking wet with paraffin, okay? Once you leave that soak for a few minutes, all right, and then you'll attack it with a brush. Brush I've used in the past. Well, this is my weapon of choice actually. I've got it in the bag just because it gets absolutely minging, as you can imagine. Okay, and there we have it. It's a nice soft brush, so it's not going to damage the rubber seals and the O-rings that's on your chain. Also, I have got a toothbrush, and if that's all you've got, that's all you've got, guys. Okay, it will do the job. However, recently I've splashed out, well I say splashed out, it cost me about £4 off eBay. Okay, it was one of these. So this is more of a modern brush. So one end we've got nice stiff bristles, and then on here we've got a 3-sided brush. Now the beauty of this is when you're running it along your chain, you're going to be able to clean both sides of it. I've not yet used this in anger, so I'm looking forward to putting it through its paces. So there's the brushes. Now I've got 2 new products that I'm going to be trying today. Never used them before, and they're both from Muck-Off. So what we've got is from this Muck-Off, I don't know how long it's been on the market, I've never used it before, but it's a biodegradable chain cleaner. Now what that means is it'll do the same job as the paraffin, but you can actually use a hose pipe and rinse all the grime off your chain. It's going to go down and it's not going to be bad for the environment. I'm not going to do that. It sounds a bit like too much faff because I'll have to wait for the bike to dry, etc. So I'm going to use this as I would the paraffin, and I'm just going to dry it off with some rags and some blue roll. So yeah, looking forward to using that. And then once we've done that, we're going to lubricate the chain once it's nice and clean. So I've got another all-weather chain lube from Muck-Off. Never used this one before, so looking forward to giving that a bit of a whirl. Right, if you've never done this before, okay, you'll soon realise that it's an absolutely messy job. So I would advise you, if you're on a concrete floor or one of your driveways at home or something, to put some newspaper down, maybe even an old blanket. You want to be covering your brake discs, because you don't want any of this stuff going on your brake discs. If you do get it on your brake discs, if you've got it to hand, some brake cleaner, that would be superb for getting it off. If you haven't got any brake cleaner, then some soap and water, maybe some fairy liquid, something that's got a degreaser. Or if you have got some of this, yeah, obviously that is a degreaser, that will take it off your brake discs the same. So yeah, I imagine that you'll be able to use this to actually clean your bike as well, not just your chain. But don't take my word for it. I don't want you coming back to me saying it's ruined your bike or whatever. So that's a bit of a disclaimer. Right, moving on then. Nearly ready. I'm going to get some old blankets to put down on the floor because I don't want it ruining the concrete. And then we'll be good to go. Right then. When you're doing this job, guys, you just need to accept that you're going to make a mess. So to that end, because you're going to make a mess, you just need to be clever about where you make that mess and try to prevent it as much as possible. So I've got an old canvas down, bits of newspaper. If you've got gloves, okay, it's a little bit easier. Saves you getting your hands all minging, because you are working with solvents at the end of the day. So because I've got some, I'm going to wear them. Right, chain cleaner, give it a bit of a shake. Now there's no science to this, but I always do the bottom rung. So, a disclaimer, keep your fingers away from the sprocket. If you get your fingers trapped in there, chances are they're going to stay in there and you're going to lose them. So carefully, you want to be spinning the wheel. Just use the chain cleaner and just spray liberally along the bottom rung. Right, don't be scared of it, you're not going to hurt it. Smells kind of nice, this one from Muck-Off. Right, so just have a quick look, make sure we've got it all. Give it a bit more. It does smell really nice. Right, so the chain is now saturated with degreaser. So do that. Get one of your brushes, whether it's one like this or whether it's your toothbrush, just to prove the point. Okay, one of this. Just get in there, don't be scared of it. You ain't going to hurt it. You don't want to apply too much pressure. Okay, turn it. Try and get in all the nooks and crannies. However, seeing as I've got my new brush, voila, I'm going to give this a try. So, just put that on the bottom rung, keep your fingers well clear of the sprocket. And like I said, the beauty of this brush is it cleans the back end of it, which is quite harder to do with a toothbrush. Absolutely minging. Right, so one or two things. If your chain is really dirty, you could give it another coat of degreaser, go away, make yourself a cup of tea, give that some time to soak. However, because this chain was only done a few 100 miles ago, it's not actually that bad, and the wife refuses point blank to ride in any sort of inclement weather. So she doesn't ride in on the shitty roads. So the chain doesn't actually look that bad. Look that bad. Same principle if you're doing it with paraffin. Just keep turning the wheel, spraying it, get the chain saturated. Okay. So now I've gone over it with a brush just to work out all the bits of dirt. I'm now going to go and spray it again. Smells a lot nicer than paraffin. Right, like I said, this stuff's biodegradable, and according to what it says on the tin, you can use a hose pipe and wash this off. Don't use a jet wash, okay, because the jet wash will get the water past these O-rings. In between there's some O-rings which holds grease inside the chain. You don't want to be damaging them. So I'm just going to use plain old blue roll. If you haven't got blue roll, kitchen roll will suffice, or some old rags. And like I said, be careful where you stick your fingers. And never, ever, ever have the engine running whilst you're doing this. Because if you're new to riding and you've never had the engine running while it's on the paddock stand, believe it or not, this back wheel can turn on its own accord without it being in gear. So don't do it. Good opportunity to clean all the shite from the nooks and crannies on your sprockets and your wheel. And hats off to the person who invented the shaft drive on motorcycles, because I hate doing this job. I like a nice clean chain, don't get me wrong, but I hate cleaning them. So we'll use another one. Put some blue roll down on that. So if you're quite new to riding, quite new to two wheels, then if you've got the handbook for your particular bike, then reading that, and it'll tell you how often you need to clean the chain. Won't do it any harm So you'll be lubricating it every 100 miles. Okay, if you ride or commute, I should say, in all weathers, then you'll need to lubricate your chain more often, because the rain will actually wash the lubrication off your chain, so you need to be replacing it quite often, and now that will help keep your chain lasting a bit longer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a good clean. I don't want to be boring you with the footage, so I'll press pause there and I'll bring you back later on. Okay, so I've given that a good wipe. I think you'll agree that that chain looks sparkly clean. Good opportunity as well, get some degreaser on a rag, because you'll get old grease and oil flicking onto your back wheel, your tail tidy. Yeah, get some degreaser on a rag, give your wheel a good clean as well. Right, so the chain's nice and clean, dried everything off. Now it's ready for some lubrication. So when it comes to spraying the actual lubrication on your chain, the easiest way to do it is just concentrate on the top of the bottom chain. Now, I always try and get some paper wedged up there to try and not get it on my tyres. Wedge a bit of paper up there if you can, or get somebody to hold it. Give the can a good shake. Now there's lots of different lubes on the market. This one's a new one for me, this Muck Off. My last one was from Motul. I have done another video on cleaning chains on a few years ago. That's also on the channel if you want to go and check it out. So once you're ready, turn the wheel while spraying liberally along the bottom. Here we go. Once you think you've got it all the way around, just turn the chain slowly, making sure you haven't missed any bits. If you think you've missed something, just give it a quick squirt. And that's pretty much it. That is all you need to do for lubricating your chain. You don't need to be spraying everything around the backs, just do the bottom. And then what happens is, as you're riding along, the centrifugal forces of your wheel turning will force that lubrication through all the links to the outside. Okay, if it makes you feel better, you can put a little bit around the backs. Okay, but I'm happy with that. I've gone around, checked everything. If you do get this grease on your back tyre, it's imperative that as soon as possible you get some sort of degreaser, give it a good clean. Obviously don't leave it on there, because obviously if you lean onto the side of the tyre, that is a good way of getting you sliding along the tarmac. So I think I've got a couple of bits on here, so I'm going to get some degreaser on some blue roll. And that's it, we're done. I'll get everything back together, have a bit of a clean up, and then we'll do a bit of a summary. Now I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but just have a look. That's all them little bits that has come off the chain. Now them little bits are actually stones, bits of grit, sand. Add that to the grease on your chain and it'll just act like a grinding paste, wearing your chain down and reducing its life. Right, that's it, I'm all done. I've cleaned everything, put it back together, had a good tidy up in the garage, and the bike is now ready for Mrs. Jones whenever she wants to take it out this spring. What can I say about the video and who's it aimed at? Well, it's aimed at anybody who's never really cleaned a motorcycle chain before, or maybe that new rider who's new to embarking on their two-wheel journey. It's not a hard job, anybody can do it really. All you need is a few basic tools to get your chain guard off, and even if you haven't got tools to get that chain guard off, you can still clean and lubricate your chain. Makes it a bit harder if you haven't got a paddock stand, but it's not the end of the world. Halfords have got quite a nifty gizmo. I'll try and find a picture of it and insert it now maybe. I think last time I looked it was about 40 quid, I may be wrong. Anyway, it's about yay big, really handy tool, can fit in a drawer. You basically reverse your bike onto it, your back wheel onto it, and then it allows your wheel to turn in situ, which will help you lubricate the chain a bit easier. That's pretty much it. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Please like the video if you found it useful. If you didn't find it useful and thought it was absolutely shit, then please put it in the comments why. It helps the channel, helps me figure out where I'm going wrong. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Come back and see me again soon, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.